Hello, everybody. It's not yet 9:30, but for all of you early comers, thank you so
So
much.
Benny's in the chat.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for coming. We're early, and so what I'm going to do, for all of the early birds, I'm going to play the interview. We're going to play the interview that we had yesterday with Pro Aquitaine. And just let it play till 9:30. Let everybody have a chance to come in, and for all of you early birds, you will get a chance to see what we did. And I'll play a few more after that, but enjoy while we're getting ready. Thank you for being here, everybody. And what is the overall outlook over there for our elections? How they're going? What's the feeling? What's the temperature from what they're seeing about how we're doing over here?
Globally, here in France, we think that you guys are in deep doo-doo.
Okay.
Really, we're terrified. We're terrified, literally terrified. Because not very far from where I am, I mean, we've got a war going on in Ukraine at our front door, and the biggest, strongest nation in the world has this clown. We're kind of worried. We really are worried.
Well, and as are we. Let's go on up to, you're in France. You find that it's the place where you belong. Your heart is singing in the heart of Paris. How do we get to you started teaching at the French Institute of Management, or IFG. I don't know how to say it in French. I'll let you do it. And we have a few other schools. Number one, I see that your schools that you taught at were mainly business, but what you taught was language. Tell me about the journey from, well, tell me first about just the teaching, school system, higher education, what that's like. What was your experience like teaching at these institutes? And why did you find yourself teaching business? Or in business institutes mostly? Is there a reason?
Here in France, when you're a worker, when you're an employee, okay, your education does not stop at your baccalaureate, your high school diploma or college diploma. Every worker in France, every 2 years or 3 years, has a credit account. He has money that is paid for by his employer for further education. It's mandatory. Your employer has to pay for your continued education.
Wow.
So that people who have a job at McDonald's, for example, when they're 18 years old, that money in 3 years can go to getting training in, I don't know, something else, carpentry, plumbing, or anything something that you want to do in your future. So
Nice.
This is programmed in your work. So when I was teaching, I had a credit that I used it about 2 years, every 2 years, because I wanted to go to specific management programs that are very expensive. Anyway. But since I was working in business management schools in adult education, continued education, but in the daytime I was teaching the college students, university students, business English.
Okay.
Because you have to speak as perfect English as possible in an English-speaking business world.
USA.
When you have an international in Paris, It's always done in English.
Isn't it funny? The only thing we are number one still in is getting that money. That's the one thing we never let fall. Talk about that system. You said it's expensive to get into these higher education or adult education afterwards. Right now, America is inundated, stifled, drowning in the student debt, right? But you're saying that what I have a feeling what you call expensive,
Right.
can't be what it is here. If everybody can still get it.
Okay. University in France is totally free. Number one.
Wow.
The business schools that I was in are private, government owned. They belong to the government.
It's 9:30.
They're
Okay.
very expensive. And only
Let's
the
get
best
this thing.
are
Let's
chosen.
get this party
Okay,
started.
These are high position.
Oh. TGIF.
TGIF, everybody. What happened with, there we go. Alrighty. Gotta get the wings out the way. Here we go. Can everybody hear me? Is everybody here? How you doing? How you doing? Thank Ganja, it's Friday. What you were just watching there was, was a little bit. Go ahead and get it ready, Laura. Just a little bit of the awesome interview that we had with Pro yesterday for members only. Thank you guys so much who became members just to watch it. Thank
you.
A few others were gifted memberships to watch it. It means everything to us, man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Now, today, we had a long week. Lives all week. I went in for, what was that? I went in for Warnock, Raphael Warnock. I had a little something for when I saw what happened to our friend, the Orange Man at the National Association for Black Journalists. I couldn't leave that till Friday. So today, we're just going to run through some stuff that I think is important to hear, important to see. Maybe we could laugh at it. Maybe we could gasp at it. And real quick, I'm just going to play a little bit more of our interview. Actually, what I'll do is we had, I'm looking at it now, we had basically three parts: the educational system, the healthcare. Let's do a little bit of the healthcare, then we'll move on. Because the top story, people, oh my God. I don't know if you saw it. I know that if you clicked on this, you had to see the thumbnail. Mary Trump got the tea, people. Got that tea. We're going to be drinking it today. We're gonna be listening to the secret tapes. But just because while we're waiting for everybody else to come in, chime in, a little bit of the healthcare discussion we had. This idea of public/private owned. This is something where when I decided that I wanted to have this conversation with you, and I liked the idea of anchoring it in healthcare, is because this is what you guys literally call Social Security. But the American version of it is not really the same. But our idea, and we're going to move on to the healthcare, and I want to know how you went, from teaching to being elected. What drove you to decide to start working in politics or to work for the people? And I want to get to this idea of how we can mimic something like that, because the public and private cooperation in healthcare especially, but also in the schooling, is just something that we're just missing here in America, but I think is probably the best way to go for ultra-capitalist society that also still has to find a way to make healthcare, make education a right. It has to go that way at some point. And I think the example the French has set, not only for the rest of the world who seems to love it, but especially for us, could be used if we could find a way to make it work like that. Explain that public-private relationship. We'll start with healthcare and start by letting us know what got you into wanting to run for office in the first place, and see if we can navigate that.
Okay. In a small commune that I live in, we don't consider it political at all. At all. I have no idea. Went into.
Hold on. Wait. Listen to this, guys. This is what killed me. Listen to this, and we'll move on to the next story. This
sent me immediately after.
I'll
give you one concrete example.
I want you to hear his story.
It was an accident, but accidents happen.
Yes.
Especially as you get older. I was working on the terrace here, and there was a plank that had been ill-fitted. I fell through one floor, crashed on the cement. My skull was fractured. This was open. My skull was open. Okay. The boys across the street could hear me screaming, so they called the firemen. The firemen are the first responders in France. You always call the firemen. They are trained professionals.
Right.
They came and immediately they saw that it was pretty bad. They contact the emergency in the hospital 12 miles away. Emergency says, okay, we're sending over the ambulances. The ambulances arrived 11 minutes later with an emergency doctor on board.
Okay.
They load me into the ambulance. It's a big truck, but anyway, with all the equipment and whatever they need. Take me to the emergency room in the hospital in Bly, 24 kilometers from here. And immediately they take you into the ward, and they sent me immediately after the doctor said, okay, I want this. They sent me to the scan, 2 scans, body, skull, x-rays, IRM. Since the brain specialist was not on duty in that hospital at that time, it's another hospital where they are connected with Zoom and all sorts of equipment. And it goes immediately to the doctor in the Boom, and the brain surgeon in the Boom said, okay, do this. By the time they brought me back to the emergency room, the doctor knew what he had to do.
Okay.
So they sewed me up. Okay. And they kept me on 24 hours monitor in the emergency. I had my own private room, 3 days. And all that, because of my comp, I paid exactly zero.
Zero. Wow.
Zero. I didn't pay a penny.
Excuse me, I had to sneeze. I apologize. And you're still just paying the 70-something per month. But if you went through the normal public channels, if you didn't have that, that would have cost how much more?
$500.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to stop. See, for all of you privileged people there in Canada and the rest of Europe, who government sees them as human beings and not cogs in the system, you have no idea how everything inside me dropped, sank when I heard this guy say, if he didn't have the insurance that he pays for, which is only 70-something a month, he said, something like that, it would have just been $500. Brain surgery, days in recovery, MRI, CT scans, everything, no big deal. $500, like that would have ruined a family of 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't even think about 5 in America. So if you guys want to see that, I have the replay where we have this whole story, a few other snippets. It was an hour and a half long. I cut it down to the important stuff for 30 minutes and put it up. Check it out. Check it out. It's completely interesting. It's just wow. Yeah. What did you think about that, Laura?
Well, I was impressed with everything he's talking about for sure, and it's very similar to what we have in Canada.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm having a little maple biscuit.
Hey, look at that little maple leaf, little Canada Pride there.
Maple flavored cream biscuit.
Okay, guys, here it is. Let's do this. Go check it out. It's on the channel. Now for the tea. Sonia, I see you're ready for that tea. You're ready for that tea. Benny, I know you're ready for this tea. TV2 Live, I hope you're still here. You guys, listen to this. Oh my God.
My brother Fred published a book in which he told an anecdote that shone a spotlight on our Uncle Donald's cruelty. Most people are aware of this cruelty, but Fred illustrated just how deep it goes. Fred's son William, who was born shortly after my grandfather's death in 1999, suffered from life-threatening seizures and throughout his life has required extremely expensive care. In 2008 or 9, Fred requested that our aunts and uncles set up a medical trust fund for William. By 2018, however, they had grown tired of contributing to it. Fred met with Donald, and when he explained the situation, Donald said, "I don't know. He doesn't recognize you. Maybe you should just let him die and move down to Florida." There's no reason for anybody to doubt the veracity of my brother's claim, but I think it's important to bolster it. In June of
So, wait a minute. Just to grasp that, can we just respond to that? Because I'm not sure that I did a good job of responding to it before, if we even did talk about it. The man told his own cousin, nephew, like, hey, your son doesn't even recognize you. Why don't you just kill him and move to Florida? As if he's talking about his dog Biscuit, right? Just send him up north. Send him to a farm up north. He'll never know the difference.
Put him on an ice floe. Send him out to sea.
Oh my God. The sociopath. This guy was president. Like, can you imagine? Oh my God. Now listen to this. So she feels like you have to bolster it because these people are sick and they're acting like, you know, the nephew was crazy. But it just gets worse, people. Oh my God, watch.
To bolster it. In June of 2018, my nephew William was in the hospital with a serious case of pneumonia. As far as I remember it, he was so ill, doctors placed him in a medically induced coma. That month, I visited my Aunt Marianne at her apartment on the Upper East Side, and we had the following conversation.
It's going to be a long recovery, but he's really tough. And I text back,
Yeah.
I know he's tough, but I just wish he didn't have to be.
And of course, the question I would love to ask, but I won't. I assume he has a normal life expectancy, and I'm saying, oh God, this would be merciful.
You can only imagine what was going through their heads. Intubated, medically induced coma, ICU.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't think they'd agree with me, but it would be merciful.
You know, I just don't think you can ever.
I mean, he
No.
has no quality of life.
2 days ago,
Okay. It's super low. Is that the matriarch? Is that her mom?
That's his sister,
His freaking sister.
the judge.
Okay. The judge! Oh my God. Oh my God. She's in charge of people's lives?
Well, she stepped down from the bench, but under I think she had a few scandals over her when probably.
Okay.
We'll have to look that up.
Sociopathy. If the title said the sociopath in chief, that's this lady. What's happening, if you couldn't hear, she doesn't want to, because she's a judge, now I understand, she's a freaking lawyer, because she doesn't want to say the word die or let him die or pass away, she just skirts over the word and says, I'm not going to say it, but it would be better. What's it? It's like it's a thing. Listen to this again, people. This is on record.
Recovery, but he's really tough. And I text back,
Yeah.
I know he's tough, but I just wish he didn't have to be.
And
One person says, I know he's tough, but I wish he didn't have to be. That's a sentient being. The kid is gonna make it. He's gonna make it. We have hope.
of course, the question I would love to ask, but I won't.
Of course, the question I'd love to ask, but I won't. And she doesn't, but she just continues on like you should know what I'm talking about. This unbelievable sociopathic skank.
Well, that's how he talks too. That he never says something outright. He
Yes.
infers it so that somebody else would do it.
This learned, underhanded, sneaky behavior.
To me, as a normal life expectancy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just confirm that she stepped down from the bench. U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee in support of. She took senior status. Okay, she announced her retirement from the bench in February 2019 after an investigation was launched into allegations that she committed judicial misconduct by participating in fraudulent tax and financial transactions.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're all
Are you
freaks.
are you telling me this lady committed
Marianne Trump
judicial
Berry.
malfeasance? Couldn't be. I'm surprised. I'm surprised, Laura. I'm surprised. Let's hear what the nice lady has to say.
I assume he has a normal life.
I assume he has a normal life expectancy. When I first heard that, I was like, "Oh, well, she's not the bad one." I thought that was her comforting herself. I assume he has a normal life expectancy. The next words were, and then I said, "Oh God, what a disaster that my little nephew has a normal life expectancy."
God, this would be merciful.
This would just be merciful.
You can only imagine what was going through their heads. Intubated, medically induced coma, ICU.
Mary, out of sheer what is that? Just shock. Decided in that moment, wait, maybe she didn't get it. Let me repeat what we're talking about here. I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder how they could have felt. He's intubated, medically induced coma, ICU. I know that's not, you must not have heard me correctly. You hear her desperation in Mary's voice. Shock.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if I don't think they'd agree with me, but it would be merciful.
You know, I just don't think you can ever.
I mean, he
No.
has no quality of life.
2 days.
He has no quality of life. He's in a coma. We're trying to get him out. Your first thought is, it's just too much. It's just too much. He's a kid. It's not like you're talking about your grown uncle, your grandfather. Even your own father. It's hard to even do something like that. But when you're a kid, that's not even on the table until the doctor says. Right? Am I wrong? Like, when you're a kid, that's, as a normal human being, that's not even on the table. Unless the doctor comes to you and says, hey, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to. And then you say, no, are you sure? Then they say yes. She's just like, I mean, can't they just kill him already? When are they going to kill him? Now hear why. It's not done yet, people.
Days ago, our cousin, Eric Trump, chose to write this to his 4.5 million Twitter followers. It's disappointing that after decades of unwavering love, support, golf memberships, family vacations, and millions of dollars in support for his wonderful son, Fred Trump has decided to cash in less than 100 days before an election. I have signed the checks and witnessed firsthand as my father and our family has provided endless financial support so that Fred's son could receive the best possible medical care. To read this garbage and see that he has now followed his troubled sister simply to earn a quick buck is disgusting, disheartening, and a prime example of no good deed goes unpunished.
Now, quick analyzation. I know you heard that, Laura. I'll let you eat your cookie.
I've eaten it.
Here's the deal. This is Psychology 101. The first thing that he found as the most important defense of himself and his family and his father: unwavering love and support, great. Golf memberships, family vacations, and millions of dollars. It wasn't until sentence number 3 at the end of the paragraph where he finally mentions, oh yeah, we try to give financial support for the best possible medical care. Because that's what his vapid life is. That's why he has this absolutely plastic looking gargoyle of a fiance who he badmouths every day, because it's all about the golf memberships and the family vacations and the millions and the helicopters. That's life. That's all it's worth. And if he crashed in that helicopter tomorrow, his own father would say, how much did it cost? Does he know how much that helicopter cost? You telling me he couldn't just go on a golf course? Look how many golf courses I have. Why wouldn't he just die on a golf course? Right? Let's continue. Yeah, go ahead,
Let's
Laura.
talk. Maybe Donald should just, I won't say it, but, it'd be merciful.
That's
For Eric and Don's sake,
Perfect.
I mean, he doesn't recognize them. He hasn't.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. They are not recognized. No matter how much they flail for the attention, he doesn't recognize them. Maybe, it's merciful. I'm just saying. What's the life expectancy of someone like that? Oh my God. 30 more? 40 more years? No. Wow. Oh, let's move on, people, before we talk. This is getting dark. Let's. But my God, people. And if you're wondering what it is that's playing on all the way to your, what is that you're watching? All the way to your right. You see these names up. We'll talk about that after this.
I typically have avoided making any reference to my cousins. As people I'm related to, they are completely irrelevant to my life personally. As an adjudicated business fraud and one of Donald's surrogates, Eric is beneath my contempt. I cannot, however, allow this statement to go unchallenged, not only because it's full of lies and misinformation, but because he's using his vast platform to punch down. His self-aggrandizing and vicious statement is quite frankly abhorrent. If Eric had any self-awareness, he would have kept his mouth shut.
Right.
If he had any sense of basic human decency, he would understand the bargain he's made, and at the very least, not attempt to pass off a blatant theft from which he's benefited as an act of charity.
Here it comes, people. I keep stopping it because it's almost too hard to just go into. Are you sitting down? This is why that sociopathic sister of his had the reaction she had. Just have a seat.
But he's had very good teachers and goes instead for the threat and the lie while rejecting the truth and compassion because, like his father, he's weak and he's cruel in the way of small, unaccomplished men. It is time for me to set the record straight. My father died when I was 16 years old. Fred was 18. My Uncle Donald, my Aunt Marianne, and Uncle Robert became our trustees. It was their responsibility to protect our financial interests. When my grandfather died in 1999, we learned that we had been completely disinherited. My grandfather's estate was worth approximately $1 billion. After Fred and I were unable to reach an agreement with my aunt and uncles, I told my Uncle Robert that we intended to sue our grandfather's estate. Less than a week after we started the lawsuit, the medical insurance that had been provided to me and my brother by Trump Management, my grandfather's company, since we were born, was canceled. The only reason this mattered, the only reason they did it, was because my brother's son, who had been born the day after my grandfather's funeral a few months earlier, suffered from life-threatening seizures. His undiagnosed condition required round-the-clock medical care. My brother depended upon the insurance to pay for my nephew's astronomical medical expenses. When William had first fallen ill, our Uncle Robert had promised Fred that the family would take care of everything. Taking away our insurance had been my Aunt Marianne's idea. William was out of the hospital by then, but he was having seizures, which more than once had put him in a state of cardiac arrest so severe that he would not have survived without CPR.
Mm-hmm.
His undiagnosed condition required round-the-clock medical care. My brother depended upon the insurance to pay for my nephew's astronomical medical expenses. When William had first fallen ill, our Uncle Robert had promised Fred that the family would take care of everything. Taking away our insurance had been my Aunt Marianne's idea. William was out of the hospital by then, but he was having seizures, which more than once had put him in a state of cardiac arrest so severe that he would not have survived without CPR. He still required round-the-clock nursing care. The family all knew this, but they canceled our insurance anyway. Fred and I had no choice but to launch another lawsuit to force them to reinstate the medical insurance so at least William's expenses would be covered. The suit culminated in an appearance in front of a judge. The Trump's lawyer claimed that the health insurance was a gift that had been bestowed upon us out of the goodness of my grandfather's heart. He also downplayed William's condition, insisting that the round-the-clock nurses were merely overpriced babysitters. If Fred and Lisa were so worried that their infant son might have another seizure, he said, they should just learn CPR.
Is this a TV show? And if this was on TV, people, if this was a movie, it would be the type of thing that you'd go, my God, this is unbelievable now. The villains in this movie are now unbelievable. You can't even, you can't sympathize with them. The writer sucks. The writer sucks, because this is just a mustache-twirling villain. Aunt Marianne is the person on the phone. Aunt Marianne is the person who doesn't want to pay because the insurance was too much, and she doesn't want to pay it. Not because of his long life. It would be merciful. Because she was the one who decided to get rid of their insurance in the first place. Wow! Let's keep going.
Almost 2 decades after my grandfather died, I learned that Marianne and Donald and Robert had, through fraudulent means, stolen our inheritance, which was worth tens of millions of dollars. If they had not done so, my brother never would have needed to ask for their help in the first place. My brother and I have taken very different paths, and I have no special knowledge of my brother's relationship with the rest of my extended family. But there's certainly no reason for me to doubt his story. I will not doubt his motives. Because I know it's a hard thing to be outside of one's own family, and nobody should be judged for trying to be part of it, even if, perhaps especially if, it costs you a bit of your soul. To my cousins Ivanka and Donnie and Eric, to Marianne's son David, you too benefit from the theft Donald and Marianne and Robert committed. I don't expect any of you to return our stolen property, but the very least you could do is return enough of it so my brother and sister-in-law can take care of their son without care or worry for the rest of his life. I have no doubt my Uncle Donald had a hand in Eric's statement, and to him I would say, you do not get to steal tens of millions of dollars from your dead brother's children, and then, when you use some small portion of it to help out the victim of your theft, get to pretend that you deserve anyone's gratitude. Thank you for listening.
It was a perfect phone call. It was a perfect phone call. Listen, no one has ever made a more perfect phone call than me. Except my sister Marianne.
She died last November.
That's Marianne?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Too bad. She should. She got away with stuff.
yeah. Yeah. Oh well. On to the next one. That absolute horrible excuse of a human being has now, the only thing she's ever done good in her life was leave. How about them apples? You don't like that? I'm sorry. I heard the phone call. It was a perfect phone call. That's exactly what I needed to know. That's exactly what I needed to know. How did this guy become this way? I wish I took more sociology classes, because I'm often thinking you gotta ask my wife. I'm literally all the time thinking about, how did people get this way? What was the deal? What was the catalyst? And you realize this family of sociopaths, learned sociopaths, is just it's endemic of what America can really produce with rich people and affluenza, right? Like, this is really what some people become. Monsters. And he wants to get back in the presidency. Wow. So that's the reason why we're here. Really quick, now that we're long enough into this live, I'm going to tell you guys what's happening over here on the right. On the right, I said last week we have an assignment. This is the assignment. There are 70 that we know of, names of election workers in swing states. All of them are pretty much guaranteed to not certify. No matter if it's Republican or Democrat, no matter who wins, just for the sake, all these small counties, just for the sake of the chaos. If enough small counties don't certify, the state can't certify. We learned about that from Rachel Maddow, but also, if you've been watching the channel, you learned about that from me almost a year ago in my Project 2025 Pillar 4. I talked about it already being done for the past 3 years. This is what I meant. So, I did the homework. I completed the assignment. You guys know what to do. I'll give you the rest of the instructions at the end of this. because only those who care enough can be here for these announcements. And no, for real, because the whole point is to be offline, right? You guys remember the whole point is we don't want to say too much online, but right now what you're getting are the names of these 70. Our job is to write. Our job is to let them know we know that was their plans. Let the Heritage Foundation know that we know they've been put in place. Let your governor know that we know where they are and the counties they're in, and maybe they should get the Department of Justice or whatever Secretary of State enforcement that they have on it, and be vigilant for the next 97 days to ensure that these names of these election workers in these counties know. Our job is to find people who live there offline, become a barrier. Our job is to let them know that we know. Them personally, them politically, from the top to the bottom. What you'll be seeing is these 70 names in all the different swing states. Get a screenshot when one passes that you think maybe you can affect close to where you live, or even in the state where you live. It's going to keep on playing for the rest of the evening, and that's the end of it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Now, that's why it pleases me. After listening to what Mary Trump says, that's things like this now, Laura, become, it's empowering, all right? I say to my wife that it's empowering to know why these people are doing these things. It's the same reason why people come up with conspiracy theories, because bad things just happening is scary. You need a reason. You want to know that you know why, that you have a grasp on it. And it's empowering to know why you have people like the Trump, the orange orangutan himself. How this vapid human being came to life in the shape of an actual, unneeded dough, human-shaped thing. Okay? Now when you hear this, it makes sense. Let's talk about it.
A Midas touch account that reads, "This old clip of Donald Trump from the 90s needs to go viral. He's always been a racist freak." Thanks, Midas, and I'm on board, and I'll do my part in showing you guys that clip in just a minute. But my thought is, why stop there? Donald Trump has such a rich history of bigotry that much of it is forgotten and out of view due to the sheer volume of his racist rhetoric as a politician that began with the Obama birth certificate dog whistle. What's old is new again and as relevant as ever. So without further ado, I present today's video entitled "The Top 4 Old Stories About Donald Trump's Racism That You May Have Forgotten About or Never Known That Need to Go Viral and Reach the Remaining Swing Voters so we can end his reign of racism once and for all."
I'm doing
a whopper
my
of a title, but it sets up a short list that I hope goes a long way in crushing his white nationalistic soul. And at the top of the list, I will reveal today's breaking story. And at number 4, according to his first wife Ivana, he kept a book of Hitler's speeches on his nightstand.
Had told her lawyer that Donald Trump occasionally read from a book of Hitler's collected speeches, My New Order, and a friend of Trump told the magazine on the record that he had given Trump the book, saying he thought Trump would find it interesting.
And if that wasn't cringe enough, his cousin, an employee, would click his heels and shout Heil Hitler every time he walked into Trump's office in an obvious nod to Trump's affinity for the Fuhrer. At number 3, in the 1980s, Kip Brown, a former employee at Trump's castle, said when Donald and Ivana came to the casino, the bosses would order all of the black people off the floor.
Wow.
It was the 80s. I was a teenager, but I remember it. They put us all in the back, and they did so because they knew Trump's preferences. So are you getting curious about what's number
1980s?
Mm-hmm.
You're still sitting in the back of the bus with Trump. Oh my God! This entitled Karen douchebag. This is what happens when you never have to deal with real people or real life, and everybody just tickles you all day long. The entitlement, unearned. He has no. That's why he got so pissed off when the black ladies were talking to him without saying yes, massa after every word, because he just hasn't had to deal with it. He has affluenza, people. Some mental condition beyond the psychopathy and the sociopathy. He has affluenza.
One, even you news hawks may not have seen this archive clip before, but please stand by because it's coming up. And at number 2, the most egregious incident on my list happened in 1989 and has been characterized as a modern-day lynching. 1 Latino and 4 black teenagers, the Central Park Five, were accused of attacking and raping a jogger in New York City. Trump spent a small fortune running attack ads in papers demanding bring back the death penalty. The teens' convictions were later vacated after they spent 7 to 13 years in prison.
After that terrible attack in Central Park, you spent a lot of money taking ads that seemed, Donald, to the casual reader insightful, like, wow.
Of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need if we're going to get something done.
And now for the moment you've been waiting for. Drum roll, please. The video that shows Trump has always been a racist freak shows his unfiltered and unhinged remarks about Indians. No, not his recent oddness about Kamala Harris's biracial roots or J.D. Vance's wife. In 1993, he had this to say about Native American casino ownership, and Representative George Miller was perhaps the first prominent Democrat to call him out for his obvious racism.
And before we watch that, I want you to remember this is the classic Trump, the classic Trump, the failure, the life failure, the human failure, the human skid mark that he is. Because he failed at an unfailable business, gambling. Number one, the house always wins. Number 2, their client is addicted. It's like smoking. How do you go broke making cigarettes? He went bankrupt. Gambling. And so now he's blaming it on the next person of color that he can find. Classic Trump. Listen to this crap.
Is this you discussing Indian blood? We're going to judge people by whether they have Indian blood, whether they're qualified to run a gaming casino or not?
That probably is me, absolutely. Because I tell you what, if you look at some of the reservations that you've approved, you, sir, in your great wisdom, have approved.
Wait, this is what they always thought of you, Trump. I hope you see this. I hope you see this. Look at this is how they've always seen you. These same people who are now rallying around you for proximity to power and their own pockets. Look a little bit over his left shoulder, or his right shoulder, but to our left.
Absolutely, because I tell you what, if you look at some of the reservations that you've approved, you, sir, in your great wisdom, have approved, I will tell you right now, they don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like the Indians. Now, maybe we say politically correct or not politically correct. They don't look like Indians to me, and they don't look like Indians to Indians, and a lot of people are laughing at it, and you're telling how tough it is, how rough it is to get approved. When you go up to Connecticut, and you look, now, they don't look like Indians to me, sir.
Thank God that's not the test of whether or not people have rights in this country or not, whether or not they pass your look test.
Depends whether or not you're approving it, sir.
No, it's not a question whether I'm approving it. It's not a question whether I'm approving it. Mr. Trump, you know in the history of this country where we've heard this discussion before, they don't look Jewish to me.
Oh, really?
They don't look Indian to me. They don't look Italian to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the test for whether people could go into business or not go into business, whether they could get a bank loan. You're too black, you're not black enough.
I want to find out. Well, then why you're approving for Indian? Why don't you approve it for everybody then? If your case is non-discriminatory, why don't you approve for everybody? You're saying only Indians. Wait a minute, sir. You're saying only Indians can have the reservations, only Indians can have the gaming. So why aren't you approving it for everybody? Why are you being discriminatory? Why is it that the Indians don't pay tax, but everybody else does? I do.
Here at Occupy Democrats, we pride ourselves in...
That was so shocking, my phone fell off.
Yeah, it's shocked. It shocked.
man. Yeah, he's always the same old story.
Wow. Wow. Listen, hey, I see that you wrote in here, Laura. You said this one resurfaces every few years, but so far no impact. Guess what? I've never seen it.
Really?
I do this all day, every day for years. So that means this is exactly why we're bringing it back up again.
Right on, right on.
So it's 100% right. Wow, people, this is your president. If you're not embarrassed enough to get out there, then maybe you're shocked enough by Mary Trump's secret phone call. Okay? Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, they act like they've been so put upon on. You mean when the people came here and massacred their families?
Oh, they should get over it.
Just get over it.
Are we still talking about that?
As a matter of fact, I was going to go somewhere else, but instead, that's the reason why they want to get rid of the history. Because they can't handle it. Mm-hmm. It's that if they do that, then they can just continue on stepping on everybody like nothing ever happened. They'll never have to actually deal with the consequences. But anyway, wowzers. Absolute wowzers. Again, the names that you're seeing on the side, just go ahead and take a screenshot of every one of them, or every time you see it move, whatever you can do. These names and these counties will have to be is the new assignment. I did the old one. Here it is. Time to write. Time to watch. Time to get a few people together to go watch. That's what this is all about today. Yeah, Trump's a racist. Flagrant. Flagrant. This is why, after the National Association of Black Journalists had him come, and he flamed out in a like a bag of poop on a front door. There has been a mass exodus. People are leaving.
Yeah.
This is the good news. People are leaving. Do you have any...
People are speaking out too, not just leaving, but finally speaking up and saying, "Screw this noise! I want out."
Count me out. Count me out. Like Lindsey Graham.
And from the weirdest corners of recent history on the internet, here is an example.
And here's the example for Mr. Rittenhouse. But I'm just going to tell you about it, because I have another story, Laura. I don't think you've seen yet. Kyle Rittenhouse said, "I'm not with Trump because," well, I'll let him tell you. Kyle Rittenhouse. Trump saved him after he shot people and killed them. All right, we'll go to this one. I'm sure we have it here somewhere. I guess X won't let me play it. No, I'm not logging in. All right. I don't need it that bad. I'm not going to support you for it. Let's see if I can find it in here somewhere. We got it in the in our chat, right? Mr. Rittenhouse. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm gonna let you see why he says he's no longer rocking with Trump. He is.
Yeah, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo.
Well,
all around.
If I can't find it, well, it's not that important.
You just had it, I thought, didn't you?
Yeah, but this is the Rolling Stone one, and then the only way you can click on it is to go through X.
I see. There it is.
Nobody's paying X any money now. What? Where? Oh, no, that's not it. So, if I find it through scrolling, what I'm going to do is tell you about it. This is. Maybe these guys have it. Did they have it on this one? All right. Fine. Let's see.
Republicans for Harris. A new organization has formed, Republicans for Harris. They are holding a Zoom meeting, rallying like-minded Republicans who are not MAGA, who know that the MAGA element has taken over the Republican Party. And these Republicans are supporting Vice President Kamala Harris. We've been featuring here on the Midas Touch Network thousands and thousands of stories of Republicans who are voting for Vice President Kamala Harris, and we're going to be voting for President Biden because they know that the Republican Party has left them. People who have shared comments like Rick Mullins here. I've been a Republican my whole life. Trump has stolen my party and twisted it into something evil and unrecognizable. I'm proud to support Vice President Kamala Harris for president and will be on the Zoom call. Fellow Republicans, I encourage you to join me.
Let's take
the
a look at some
Republican
of these
boards, you may see them
billboards.
as you're driving, no matter what state you're in. These are going up across the country, like Dwight from Michigan and Robert from Pennsylvania, Lars from Wisconsin.
420.
Glenn from Michigan, Tom from Michigan, Mike from Pennsylvania. You've got Matthew from Pennsylvania, Joe from Michigan. You've got Steve from Wisconsin. These stories are very, very compelling as well. People who...
Okay, so we got billboards of people. Billboards of people who are leaving like this is enough. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. Okay? And then you have this guy, Kyle Rittenhouse, who was saved by the MAGA people.
Won't put up.
Fight fire with water. You gotta fight fire with fire.
You can't fight fire with water?
Yeah. Depends on what's in the fire.
They specifically do fight fire with water.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence that he's got an All Rifles Matter shirt on, and he's talking about how there should be no gun-free zones, because the cause of all of this infighting, the sacrificial little lamb of the MAGA sheeple herd that has been getting ostracized and abused online by the ire of maggots for his disloyal defection, is a pretty prominent Second Amendment supporter you all may remember. Who is it? What did they do? And what kind of insane, twisted logic insults are the far-right Magadonian loyalists lobbing at them and their family? I'm Kenny Hess for Really American, and let's break it all down in today's episode of the MAGA Civil War. Now, we all know that there is nothing Magadonians love more than claiming they're the ones being persecuted while simultaneously persecuting anyone who voices a lick of dissent or doubt about their dear leader. Whoops, I meant...
No, let's go here.
$11 billion.
Let's go here.
Told British TV he was going to seriously look at banning suppressors and ignored legislation to deregulate suppressors, supported expanding background checks on registration, and told Senator Feinstein to include, quote, assault weapons ban in school safety bill. Clearly, Donald Trump is too radically left and woke for some...
Wait a minute. When did he say all of that? I don't remember any of these plans. I just don't remember them. But anyway, we'll continue.
Clearly, Donald Trump is too radically left and woke for some Second Amendment supporters. And one in particular decided that he wasn't getting enough attention of late and needed to speak out to show the internet his utter disdain for Donald Trump. And you probably already guessed who it is, but the infamous crybaby Kyle Rittenhouse.
And then I shot them.
There were people right there.
God, what a little crisis actor. And Rittenhouse, who became a right-wing icon after he shot dead 2 men during the racial unrest in Wisconsin in August 2020, said he will not vote for Trump because of his, quote, bad policy on protecting gun rights. The 21-year-old told his followers on X that he plans on writing in former Libertarian presidential nominee Ron Paul.
Unfortunately, Donald Trump had bad advisors making him bad on the Second Amendment, and that is my issue. If you cannot be completely uncompromisable on the Second Amendment, I will not vote for you, and I will write somebody else in. We need champions for the Second Amendment, or our rights will be eaten away and eroded each day. I support my decision,
We need
and I
a
have no takebacks.
And we'll be forfeiting the championship match.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, it most certainly did not pay off for little old Kyle here. Because just like crabs not letting other crabs get out of the barrel, following his announcement, a number of pro-Trump X accounts bashed Rittenhouse for abandoning the GOP nominee and threatened to cut him off from the conservative movement. Here are just a few, saying Kyle Rittenhouse took the support of MAGA and Donald Trump, but now is completely turning on him to, quote, write in a candidate in 2024. After all the movement did for him, absolutely disgusted with this kid. I love how the guy's actually 21 years old, but his
Wait a minute. Hold on. When he shot the people, killed them, murdered them in the street, showed up with a rifle, shot them, they weren't disgusted with him. Now, they wanted him to intern at the White House or in Congress. They were going to elect this fool for killing people with no other credit, with no other education or experience. You killed somebody? Did you kill a knack-up? Black folks know what that means. I won't say that word online. Did you kill a knack-up? Oh my God, you kill one of those guys, you can be a congressman. But all he has to say is, well, I think I'm going to write someone in. I'm disgusted. Now you're disgusted.
Well, he what's the word? Interned with what's his name, Cat Scratch Fever dude. Wow. So really? So he knows all about. Oh, I'm just kidding, but he spent a lot of time on the couch with what's his name.
JD?
That old has-been, insane has-been rock and roll guy.
Oh, you're talking about. Yeah, I didn't catch the reference. I don't listen to his music. I know you're talking about the old leather face. He looks like an albino cigar, smoked, with his dumb cowboy hat on. Yeah, that guy. I know what you mean. Yeah, he wasn't good before he became stupid, and then anyway, before he became political. But let's listen to it.
That's it. Ted Nugget.
He said it too, Nugget. Ted Nugget. It looks like yeah. I'll stop there. Ted Nugent. So wait a minute. Listen to this. Now, Kyle Rittenhouse is going to stamp his foot and hold his ground against the MAGA cult.
Maybe attitude will forever have people referring to him as a kid. Someone else adding, we will not have a Second Amendment in this country if Trump isn't elected. Kyle Rittenhouse, you are abandoning Trump because he's not 2A enough and writing in Ron Paul. Traitor. That is a vote for Kamala and the Democrats. With the poster also pointing to this previous Kyle Rittenhouse post where he said, Trump showed support for me from the beginning. I will gladly support and stand up for a president who cares about the American people and does what is right. They are so dumb. With another MAGA hat, Chad Prather saying, oh well, Kyle, I regret to inform you that I will no longer be one of your guests on September 12th at the TXGR event. I reckon you can write in someone else. This was not the way, bud. As well as Cat Turd on Twitter saying, bye.
Enough. All right, so I am done with that. So listen, not only that, your boy said, no compromises means no compromises. Kyle Rittenhouse. He's standing up for what he believes in. Until about 2 hours ago, MAGA trolls bully Kyle Rittenhouse into sticking with Trump. It only took, let's see, it only took, no, please, we gotta laugh harder. Where is it? Hold on, let me tell you how long it took. Cat Turd did him in.
Yep.
Cat turd did him in. That was it. Cat turd did him in. But listen, no compromises means no compromises. August 2nd, 2024, 1:29 a.m. Today is August 2nd, 2024, 10:29 p.m. It seems, however, that Rittenhouse could only stand by those principles for about half a day before he was ready to compromise. In that time, his replies filled up with vitriol and abuse from one-time fans as other MAGA world influencers denounced him. I've never in my life, following politics for 40 years, blah, 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 seen a bigger betrayal. Half a day. Half a day. And he said, I'm going to stand for no compromises. Over the past 12 hours. No, wait a minute. Hold on. Where's the light? I got the light. I need the light. Everybody watch. No, hold on. Over the past 12 hours, I've had a series of productive conversations with members of the Trump team. And I'm confident he will be the strong ally gun owners need to defend our Second Amendment rights.
He's our champion.
Yeah, people. In case you forgot, what's scrolling over here on the right of your screen is the names of the 70 people who are Trump sycophants, who are also election deniers, who also have pledged to not certify the election. If you want to see Kyle Rittenhouse cry some more, please follow the plan. This is the assignment. Take a screenshot at any time. Whenever you take a screenshot, one of these states will be here with all of the names of those deniers so that we can write, we can watch, we can get a group together, we can be there to watch, we can make sure that the state officials know their names, where they are. We can let them know that we know that that's what they plan to do to stop them from doing it, so that we can ensure that Kyle Rittenhouse continues to have productive conversations by himself. Okay? All right. What's next? We got a lot going on. I want to get to something serious, man. They're all leaving. He can't win. That's why they plan on cheating. So we're going to try to stop them from cheating. In other news, Laura, normally I don't do this. You're the one who brings it all up. But we've been doing too much. We've been doing too much. In other news.
In other news that's sort of related, we got to go from the orange blob not being able to even make a casino work. So now this story is resurfacing. I vaguely remember it from back in the Mueller days, but now it's resurfaced. These bags of money from Egypt.
Oh yes, okay.
And this is right on the heels of Menendez getting convicted too. So this juice is worth a squeeze.
Beautiful.
Second time.
Let's squeeze it. I'll try to read it. Let's start to read. Donald Trump's former acting director of national intelligence, Rick Grenell, took issue Friday with Friday's bombshell Washington Post report that accused Egypt of trying to funnel $10 million to his 2016 presidential campaign. So what's this one? Egypt? What would a 2-year-old call this? We had Russia, right? So now we have Egypt. Yeah.
It's a Sphinx hunt.
Oh, Sphinx hunt for a sphincter. Love it. According to reporter Carol Leonard, a secret investigation pursued CIA intelligence indicating Egypt's president sought to illegally inject $10 million into Trump's cash-starved 2016 campaign. foreign money everywhere with this guy, man. He hates America. He hates America. The level of projection that these dummies, that these unneeded, human-shaped piles of dough walking around like the dark seekers huddling in the darkness of their ignorance, the level of projection that they have when they say everybody else hates America but them, and the person they're voting for is the number one person. He hates the American Indians. He hates black people. He hates poor people. He hates his own nephew. He hates at least one of his sons. He wants to screw one of his daughters. And now he's been proven to not only been massaged with cash by his Russian daddy, he's also willing to take colored money too. Huh? The money's always green. The Native Americans didn't have a problem until he lost his casinos and they didn't. Now he's willing to take brown colored money too. $10 million in cash. But they were blocked from seeking key records to determine if Trump took the money. Then the case was shut down. Because
it's quite a good read. You know, Bill Barr has to be investigated sometime.
Yeah.
He should be in jail.
Yeah, he's the one who
crazy got
massaged over the Russia
the Mueller
report. It's a guarantee.
A lot of other things too.
And now he acts like well, you know.
And where the hell is Mnuchin? I want to know what's going on with Mnuchin. What did he get away with?
Oh man, these guys are all richer today because of foreign money and whatever they did. I can tell you what they did. Egypt is not a part of the EAU. All right, I don't think of the wait a minute, the Arab AU. Sorry, AU. Yeah, Emerald Arab United, EAUs, whatever it is, EAU, I think. Anyway, these people are the same people.
United Emirates.
United Emirates. Okay, UAE. United Arab Emirates. UAE, sorry.
Yes.
These are the same people who Kushner was dealing with when Trump put him in charge, are the same people who decided after dealing with Kushner, the real estate man, to finally acknowledge Israel as a country. Is that bad? Not in itself. But why now? Well, we know why now. Because after Kushner went there and gave him the money in the United Arab Emirates, and told them that we can make something happen with Gaza, all of a sudden, all of those Muslim beliefs fell right down the river, and they decided to acknowledge Israel. So Israel would have a stronger case and an easier time to do exactly what they're doing now, which is cleaning out the Gaza Strip to build those buildings that Kushner wanted. Huh? I got a video on it. It's way longer than I can tell you now. The proof is in the pudding. I can't just tell you in 5 minutes and prove it to you. If I were you, I would look it up, because I wouldn't believe what I'm saying if I didn't look it up. We got the video right down there for you. Okay? Now we find out that Egypt, who has been trying to broker deals between the two, between the Arab nations and Israel, also had a stake in something. Also put some money in there. Maybe that's why Iran feels even more isolated than they ever did before. Maybe that's why all of a sudden leaders of terrorist organizations can get shot during ceremonies in the middle of open air. Just asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Don't forget, on the right, take your screenshots. Those are 70 people who plan on doing what you're about to hear today, right now.
Caitlin, that's actually incorrect. And normally I wouldn't cut you off, but you're repeating disinformation.
Today's breaking story is that testy rebuttal by Stacey Abrams, prominent Democrat activist and former Georgia House of Representatives minority leader. She was so incensed by a question by CNN anchor Caitlin Collins that she felt compelled to fact-check her in real time. Paul Hansen called Kemp perhaps the most incompetent state chief elections officer in the 2018 elections, pointing to a number of actions that jeopardized Georgia's election security. And also, to no one's surprise, Abrams felt that she won the election but was robbed of it due to the underhanded voter suppression tactics by Kemp. But in the end, she accepted the results because that's what non-extremists do. But it's that word "one" that's at the heart of her interruption of Collins coming up in a few seconds. And here's how she put the word into context in an interview with the New York Times Magazine. I feel comfortable now saying I won. My larger point is, look, I won because we transformed the electorate. We turned out people who had never voted. We outmatched every Democrat in Georgia history. But voter suppression is endemic, and it's having a corrosive effect. If we do not resolve this problem, it will harm us all. But what we call attention to are the 1.4 million plus who were purged, and the 53,000 who weren't processed, and the thousands who were given provisional ballots. My point is that I believe we have reached a place where those who share my values actually outnumber those who share the values of my opponent. And that wasn't made manifest because of his structural racism and how he diminished people's ability to vote. And now that you know the backstory, that awkward moment where Abrams felt compelled to interrupt Caitlin Collins will make sense.
Well, I do remember the time you told the New York Times, I won. You did describe it as a stolen election. The courts did side with the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and some of the challenges as well.
Caitlin, that's actually incorrect. And normally I wouldn't cut you off, but you're repeating disinformation.
Thank you. Thank you. I never liked this girl. Not once. When she was the White House reporter, right? She was she was one of the White House reporters stationed under Trump. She always had that stupid, mean-looking face and was always talking about some very, very, very over-the-line red stuff. Always on the right. And just like CNN, to take her and put her in an anchor position, she still spouts this iffy did you didn't you stuff that she did when she was a White House reporter, correspondent. When she was the White House correspondent, I never liked her because of these type of questions, this type of framing, always taking the least, the road with least resistance, not doing the full research.
What the court said, if you read the entire opinion, was that despite the flaws in the process that we acknowledge, that the courts acknowledge, they were no longer permitted to complete and fix them. They could not correct the mistakes because the law had changed between 2018 and 2022 when the case was finally adjudicated. There was never a moment where they said what happened was right. What they said was there was no capacity to correct the mistakes. And so it's important that we not only use the headlines, but we read the fine print, because that's where the mistakes are made. That's where the challenges are. I believed then, and I believe now, I have never been the governor of Georgia. I have never claimed to be the governor of Georgia. What I have said is that voters were denied their full rights. Courts agreed with me in the time of that election. They agreed with me post-election. The state made changes to the flaws, some of them. Unfortunately, too many of them have been restored in different ways, and we continue to face voter suppression, not only in Georgia, but around the country.
And that's where we'll leave it. People, we're leaving it there because as this flips back over to Georgia over here, understand, please understand, I want you guys to be taking these screenshots, because that guy, Governor Kent, was Secretary of State Kent. Secretary, what is that? Yeah, State Secretary Kent. The person who runs the elections in 16. That's why she lost, because he's the one who purged all of the votes for himself. He ran the elections while he was running for governor. It's a little bit of a conflict of interest. He was the guy running the elections while he was running for governor. So he stole it. While governor, he got rid of 9,000 more people, all black, all of color, all from the districts that needed the black votes. And this year, he's put up a whole new website in Georgia. It was up for 10 hours? That had every single voter registration, name, number, and social security number. Every one of them. Then he said it was an accident. Took it down. It just so happened to coincide with the fact that they also made a new law that you can call in or go online, give your name, number, social security number, and take yourself off of the vote, of the registration. I'm going to say it again. For hours, Kemp and his cronies made a mistake and put up everybody's name, number, and social security number who voted on a website. After they took it down, you realize that a law just passed that said if you call in with your name, number, and social security number, you can take yourself off the voter registration. How many people are going to take the numbers and names and social security numbers that they got for those hours and start calling? Hey, by the way, I'm Susie, and this is my social. Take me off the registration. I just moved to Kentucky. No license, no visual. That's the law here. That's the law here. There's another law here. If I went to the site, you wouldn't believe it. It says, would you like to report someone who shouldn't be voting? Click here. Click, click. The only question that's missing is, are they also brown?
Or like Trump and his C on their applications for renting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Big C. So if you would please, before when we leave, we have some good news that these people are going to lose. It seems like Kamala is surging in the polls. If we do have a debate, it's going to look really bad for this guy because he seems to not be able to handle black women, even if he thinks they're Indian. It doesn't matter. His racism, he can't hide it. And that's the one flaw that I think even the ones who like him but are too afraid to be racist in the open are going to have to say no. The polls are looking good. We can win. We have to fight like our lives depend on it. We have to go out. I'm not going to say it this time, but when I get to Chicago, I'm going all over the place from now till November. I want to meet people in person. I want to get pipelines together. I want to get extraction ideas together in case we do lose, and there's some people who have to leave because concentration camps won't be a good thing for them. Believe that. I'm talking what I'm walking. I'm walking what I'm talking. I got you. I just ask that your assignment, take a screenshot of these things on the right. Just take a screenshot. If you've taken any it's just been going all this time. Those names and those counties need to be notified. Leadership needs to be notified. Those people need to be notified that we know who they are. The good people at American Doom did all the research, went on the Facebooks, baited them into telling the truth. This is months of work that these people put in so we could do our part. Let's write. Let's watch. Let's gather. We can do this. We can't let them steal it. Can't let them take it. Can't do it. I love all you guys. Oh, what's that? Kamala has a better chance of debating a single solitary literal corn chip. You're right. At least the corn chip knows when to shut up. Yeah. You're 100% right. This guy will not shut up. He's going to put his foot in his mouth the minute that she says, anything insulting. The minute, isn't your wife buried in your golf course, Donald? Donnie? Did you mow the lawn around the headstone of your ex-wife yet? Huh? The minute she says anything insulting, he's going to lose it and start talking about, I thought you were Indian. Boop. Down another point. Jamaicans aren't black. Down another point. It's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. It's going to have to show up. But anyway, thanks for joining us.
Rev Al was on today, and he said about Vance, though, whoever Kamala picks as her vice president, if they debate, they should just cede the time over to Vance and just say, go. Go. Talk.
I hope that they're not sitting on couches for the debate. That's all. That's all. Just don't make it too relaxed. Don't do the
Put
whole
those
couch
plastic
thing.
covers, those old granny plastic covers on the furniture. Yeah.
Oh, hide your rubber gloves. People, life is good. Donald Trump's a racist. We don't need to act like that's new. What we're now getting is the full brunt, the full exposition. I am, at least. I didn't see some of those videos before. But our goal is to make sure everything goes viral. Get this viral. Not everybody showed up in the very beginning, but by this time, I see all the names now. You got it. You got the assignment. You took your screenshot. Meet up offline. Get a gathering. I'm going to the Chi. I'll be meeting with people. I'll be also making an actual offline pipeline. I'll be giving more instructions that I can't give here. I promise you, I will not let you down.
Stop in at Buddy Guy's for me.
Yeah, I will. All I need you to do.
All right, thank you, TV2, Benny Loco, Indy, Dis. Who else?
Adolf
Angela, Adolf, is that it? Did I miss anyone?
Sonia Core, but she's
Sonia!
she fell asleep a long time ago. I'm not sure she's not.
I'm surprised we didn't see Darla tonight, but
yeah, usually we do.
Hey, maybe she's just lurking and listening. She'll watch it later.
That's what's up. That's what's up. People, that's what's up. You got it. I don't want to hear that you didn't understand the assignment. That's all. I got you.
Don't let no dogs eating it. No dogs eating your homework.
No dogs eating your homework. We got more. I'm giving you 125%. And I will never stop because I love this country. I fought for this country, and I love the people in it, and I love doing what I do. All thanks to you guys. I thank you for being the wind on my back. Laura, you too. I every now and then, I get this way. I get emotional.
My privilege to be a strong ally for democracy everywhere.
Let's do it. See you guys later.
All right. Peace out. Have a great weekend, everyone.